Hello everyone, today I'm drawing an image for International Women's Day. This International Women's Day is particularly important as this year marks 100 years of women being able to vote, which is of course a huge milestone. Women have died for our rights to vote, and in some countries there's still a lot to fight for, but we still need to look at what we've achieved. In those 100 years, what's acceptable and unacceptable for women has been written and rewritten several times over, and I've created some characters in this image that reflect modern women. So the lady in the middle of the image that I'm colouring now is representing the Free the Nipple campaign, and this was done to spark the controversy surrounding equality amongst men and women, as it wasn't, well probably still isn't, acceptable for women to appear topless in public. The Free the Nipple campaign sparked a hashtag Free the Nipple and the slogan, "How far will you go for equality?" This to me is an important milestone and a big part of history, as it's helped people reconsider what's acceptable and unacceptable for women, and I do believe it's broken down some barriers. So this lady that I'm colouring now is a female that represents what would be viewed as a visually unconventional woman. Slightly androgynous, heavily tattooed with some baggy clothing. This sort of look simply didn't exist 100 years ago, and tattoos were only for sailors, never mind women. I felt it was incredibly important to include a woman that doesn't quite fit the mould and that represents a modern look. So this lady represents the right for women to have sex with whom they want without the fear of being called names. Only in recent times has it been acknowledged that sex is an important factor for women as well as men. The phrase "lie back and think of England" was used commonly when women were first married, and it was an instruction given to brides regarding how to cope with their sexual demands of their husbands. Childbearing was considered a patriotic duty and a must, but at the same time, women were not supposed to enjoy sexual intercourse, and new brides in particular would not have been allowed to enjoy sex. In modern times, we're widely acknowledged that women are sexual beings too, and can have fetishes, kinks, and can be more sexual than men. Women have more of a right to choose whom they have sex with, and since the invention of the pill in the 60s, there's been less of a strain on the fear of unwanted pregnancies, thus giving women more power. And this lady that I'm colouring now represents the black women of the world. Not only have black women had to deal with sexism, but also with racism, and they weren't allowed to vote until the 60s, unlike white women who'd been voting for 40 years prior to this. I wanted it to represent modern black women who represent freedom of speech and expression. I've given it bold makeup and spacey, dreamy hair to represent Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, "I Have a Dream." Black men and women to this day are still fighting for basic rights in America and other parts of the world. In 2013, the hashtag and movement Black Lives Matter was created in memory of the tragic death of Eric Garner, who was murdered by the police. This character that I'm colouring now represents transgender women. I thought I'd make her a badass, give her an 80s vibe and a cigarette. I wanted this character to look fearless and like she marches to the beat of her own drum, as transgender men and women are still fighting right now for equality, acceptance, and in some countries, the right to even live. The first known transgender surgery was performed in 1931, but of course transgender men and women have always been a part of the world. "Go ahead the girls" is Liverpool slang where I'm from. Go ahead basically means go ahead, and it's usually used in a positive light, so go ahead the girls seems a good fit for this image. There are tons of other types of women that aren't represented in this illustration. What are some other types of women that you think are important parts of history? Do you think I've left anyone really important out? Or should I do another one of these images with more types of women to represent? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching as always. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please share it, please subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon. Goodbye.